So let's find, please, Deborah Tioradini. Deborah, where are you, and your question, if you would?
I'm here.
Go ahead.
Why won't politicians trust the British public by giving us a referendum on our membership of the EU now?
And let's turn to Nigel Farage.
Because they're worried about the result. They think you might vote differently to their view. And, you know, Nick is here, and I'm very pleased that Nick laid down the gauntlet for this debate, but Nick is not here just representing the Liberal Democrats. He wants to stay a member of the European Union, but of course that's David Cameron's position and it's Ed Miliband's position. And what happens is, from time to time, they offer us a referendum. You know, they do it cynically, funny enough, at election time. And they say, vote for us, we'll give you a referendum, and then do their absolute best not to. 5 years ago, Mr Cameron was offering us a cast-iron guarantee of a referendum. Nick Clegg himself, you know, the last European elections and general elections, said it's time for a real debate. Let's have a referendum. Well, Nick, we're having this debate, and it's a good thing that we are, but I agree with Deborah's sentiment. Why don't we trust the British people to make their minds up on what I think is the most important constitutional question we faced in this country for 300 years? Are we to be a self-governing nation or not? And I agree with you. I would like this referendum to take place before the next general election.
And let's turn to Nick Clegg.
I also agree with you, Deborah, that when powers which rightly belong to you and to the British people are passed to the European Union, it's happened many times in the past with the rule changes that come along from time to time, the way that the rules are rewritten within the European Union, that should never again happen over the heads of the British people. Then the British people, the consent of the British people should be asked by way of a referendum. That's what I've always believed. That's always been my position. I've never wavered in that position. That's why the last time the rules changed, something called the Lisbon Treaty, I said there should be a referendum. I've gone further than that, actually, now in government. We've actually legislated. It's the first time anyone's ever done that. We've passed into law a legal guarantee for you, Deborah, the next time you're asked to give up powers to Europe, the next time the rules change, the next time something else is asked of the United Kingdom within Europe, it's not going to be the decision of Parliament or politicians or the government of the day. It's going to be your decision in a referendum.
But Nick, the rules change every week. Every single European directive, every single new regulation, every single court judgment, frankly, that comes out of Luxembourg, every single time a new EU law is passed, yet another small chunk, albeit small, and it's incremental, yet another small chunk of our ability to govern our country goes to the institutions of Brussels. And I think the real frustration is that all of you keep using this form of words when there's the next significant change. In the space of this coalition government, we've transferred control of the City of London, we've allowed the EU's foreign policy to become bigger and stronger. And surely, what the lady's really saying is, why don't you trust her? Because they've actually given up believing anything that you say. And if you say the next time there's a big change there'll be a referendum, and Mr Cameron says it, and Mr Miliband says it, no one believes you're actually going to deliver. And
Sure.
maybe that's the role of UKIP.
Well,
maybe the reason we're having this debate is that UKIP are forcing you onto that turf.
I accept, and that's why I said to Deborah, we've done something which no government has ever done before, which is you need that guarantee, not just from what different party leaders or politicians say, but you need that in law. Now you've got that guarantee in law. That's never happened before. And I think Nigel says, let's have a referendum next Tuesday, next Wednesday, next Thursday, every time there's a sort of, a decision taken somewhere else in the European Union. It's really important to remember this is a decision which would have a huge effect, which would have massive consequences on our country for generations to come, for decades to come. So the idea that you do that sort of flippantly, I think you do it when new powers are being, if you like, asked of the United Kingdom, and those new powers are going to be transferred to the European Union. That's my view. I think if you were to do it now, given how the European Union is in a real state of change and flux at the moment, you've seen all these problems in the Eurozone, they're sort of changing their arrangements. I don't think we really know what we're having a referendum on. So yes, let's have a referendum. Let's have that legally guaranteed in law at the time when new things are asked of the United Kingdom.
Mr Clegg, I wonder if I can read you the words from a very prominent politician back in 2008. It's time to give the British people a real referendum on Britain's membership of the European Union. And there we are, there's a very fresh-faced, carefree politician there in that poster. Why are we still waiting?
Well, if everyone can read the small print, which I suspect you can't, what it said, no, I don't mean the small print, I mean in the leaflet, What it said was, at the time we were debating a new change in the rules, which is exactly what I was just referring to with Deborah. At the time in 2008, there was a new treaty, the Lisbon Treaty. This is the treaty where, as Nigel Farage rightly points out, the Conservative Party changed radically their attitude towards it. I had exactly the same view in 2008, 2009, 2010, namely, when the rules change, when new things are asked of you, powers which rightly belong to you, then it is your decision in a referendum. That's why I said in that leaflet, and indeed in countless debates like this, that's when the referendum should take place, and now we've gone further. We've guaranteed that right to have that referendum in law.
But the trouble is, you're defining transfer of powers in terms of treaties. There is a possibility that actually there won't be any treaty change. Because in fact, what's happened since your beloved euro has gone into a tailspin is without using treaties, they've managed with the Eurozone countries to acquire yet more power at the centre. Sure. And surely, there is a very urgent need to have this. This isn't flippant.
I accept.
And everybody in this room, over the age of 55, and I bet there are many in this room who voted as my parents did, yes, but they voted yes to a common market. So frankly, this is unfinished business for the over 55s, and there are 35 million of us who've never been given the chance to have a say.
Look, I accept that if you think there should be a referendum, come whatever, you want a referendum next Wednesday, my position, of course, is not for you. If you think there should never be a referendum, there are some people who don't think we should have a referendum, then my position is not for you. If you believe, and I think many people believe, that you have referenda in our country, in our parliamentary democracy, when there's an important question to answer, when new powers are being transferred from our country to the European Union, that's when it shouldn't be done in Parliament, shouldn't be done by any government, it should be done by you in a referendum. And I, and the government of which I am part, has guaranteed that in law for the first time ever.
Let's get to... Indeed, if you hear something you like, that's what you do. Nigel Farage, you have paid tribute to the fact that Nick Clegg is prepared to debate you.
Yes.
What does it say about the courage of the other two party leaders? They're not here.
Well, Mr Cameron said he was too busy running the country. Well, he's certainly busy running from something, isn't he? And Mr Miliband did his best not to give any response at all. The one thing I will say is that UKIP are certainly united on the European question, and the Lib Dems are very strongly united on the EU question. The Tory party have a sort of historic fault line, which is very visible to all. You've got something like 80 backbenchers who now rebel regularly on the European question, whether it's, remember, 2 years ago, they were being three-line whipped not to give us a referendum. So there's a big rebellion there. But I think actually, within the Labour movement, things are not quite as serene as they may appear on the outside. And I think also the Labour Party has a big split. So they'd rather not talk about it, and they'd rather conduct the European elections, not even discussing this question.
But by taking the stance you have briefly, Nigel Farage, are you destroying UKIP's best chance of a referendum?
No, I think one of the things that will happen over the course of these European elections and perhaps beyond is that commentators in this country will wake up to what is currently the greatest myth in British politics. The myth is that UKIP take Tory votes, therefore will damage the Tory party, and that'll lead to a Miliband government. The truth of it is, only 1 in 3 UKIP voters is a former Conservative. We pick up the bulk of our votes from old Labour and from non-voters getting back into politics.
Nigel Farage, thank you.